But because I'd like to add one more thing. That is, when we think of somebody as being opposite, against us, we actually get a mental image. People don't realize that till we ask them, but we do in therapy. And it turns out that when they are angry at somebody else, they actually have an image of that person.
Yes.
Sometimes see this person as an ape, or
Yes.
and sometimes with horns. Like and so we see that from one individual to another individual, but it's also between countries, nations, ethnic groups. They tend to have kind of an image, a mental image
Yes.
of the other people as some way subhuman, even though that's not bad if we think all life is precious. But they see them in a really negative way. And much of the word propaganda, they would have pictures. Let's say when the Germans would have pictures of the Russians, and they would show during World War II, they'd show the Russians as looking like beasts, wild beasts. Then, of course, the people felt it's okay to shoot wild beasts because they're not human beings anymore. But we also think in terms of positive imagery. And we see people who, let's say, have a fear of other people. Sometimes there was an example of a student, a youngster who's going to go to school, and he had a picture in his mind of all of the other students looking at him, and they were very big, and he was very small in this image. And so what we did is we had him picture himself as Superman. He had an image of himself as Superman. As soon as he had an image of himself as Superman, he saw the other students as small, and he was big, and he was able to go to school. So just I wanted to add that little bit about the images are very important.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think all those negative emotions, now for example, I think two main negative emotions, attachment, hatred, this both the the Lord Shine you are about you don't want to do such Lord Shani tell you a chapati. You don't want the meet using money, you don't want Jimayina. Tamjalo, you don't want already, chickly, you don't want, chickly, you don't want to do. So, didn't the Carson was Labayina, Kansa Cheda or Ranila, and you don't want now their child imagination side little image.
Your point is very valid in terms of how you imagine things. Let us take the example of two strong negative emotions like hatred and attachment. In the case when we develop attachment, we tend to see that object as something attractive, pleasing, and close to your heart. Now the key question is whether that attractiveness that you see in the object is there in the object itself, or is it something that you imagined? If it is something there in the object, then everybody who looks at the object should be able to see that object as pleasing, as wonderful, as attractive. But this is normally not the case. It is only you who are seeing that object as something special and attractive. So this clearly shows that this is what you have exaggerated, what you have imagined.
So that's not objective. Actually, you see, mental projection. So, through mental projection, creates some kind of beautiful image in our mind. So, then attachment develops. So, similarly, anger comes the negative image. Actually, mental projection.
And actually, what we find is that when we get a negative image of somebody else, and it stays on, we start to attack the other person but actually we're attacking the image. We're not attacking, in our own mind, we think we're attacking a real person, if I can explain this. By attacking this image of the person, we're actually injuring a person who may be nothing like the image. So the more we have the negative image of the person, the more we're going to attack him, but it's always the image that we're having that is bothering us, not the real person. So we talked about delusion before. In a way,
Yes.
a lot of hatred is based on a delusion. And the delusion can be based on a real image, like we see each other right now.
Absolutely. Very right.
Yeah.
So I think the Buddhist concept, all these negative sort of emotions based on ignorance or misconception. So the appearance is actually not the reality. There's always big gap, appearance and reality. So then, due to one's own sort of the mind, then exaggerated, the appearance furthermore exaggerated. So certain kind of image then come. Then anger, attachment, these things happen.
Yeah. That's right.
So actually, deeply rooted on misconception.
Yeah.
So all these the negative the events on this planet now today, I think many of these misfortune or these sort of the unfortunate sort of events, ultimately due to the wrong image and group or individual's mind. So then, according to their own imagination, or on the basis of their image, then carried some decisions, some actions like that.